This one's for nurses. Nurses face significant mental health challenges, including stress, chronic stress, trauma, burnout, compassion fatigue, mental health problems, and even suicidal ideation. You are the fixers, the savers, the rescuers, the caretakers. You are the caretaker at work and at home and probably in your friend group. It's who you are. It's how you're built. But you're so busy taking care of everyone else that you might not be taking very good care of yourself. Do you have self-care practices? Is self-care even on your radar? Let's talk about that. Hello, and welcome to the Pause First Academy channel. I'm Kim Colegrove. I'm an author of these books, and I'm the owner of Pause First Academy, where I offer resilience and wellness training and support to society's warriors, protectors, guardians, and healers. I do this work because about 10 years ago, I lost my own husband to suicide less than 3 months after he retired from a 30-year law enforcement career. And because of that, I learned more about stress and chronic stress and trauma and the impacts of trauma than I ever thought I'd know. And I can't stand the thought of someone suffering in silence the way my husband did. So that's why I'm here. Okay, onward. In working with nurses, I've learned that self-care might not be very high on your list. Is that true? That this is not to beat up on you. This is to acknowledge that you're so busy taking care of others that you might be neglecting yourself. You might be living on autopilot in some version of survival mode, and you may not even be aware of it. When you're in survival mode, you just keep going, keep pushing, keep moving, right? And this might lead to you neglecting symptoms of stress, chronic stress, compassion fatigue, trauma, and other mental and emotional issues that are treatable and preventable. Articles and studies from the past 5 years or so are showing us that nurses are suffering from stress and stress-related issues at a much higher rate than the general population. And from what I've been able to tell, there doesn't seem to be a lot of support in place for you. When you were in nursing school, did you learn the importance of taking care of your own mental and emotional health? Did you learn about trauma and secondary trauma and how being exposed to the trauma of others might impact your mental health? And wherever you work right now, are there supports in place to help support your mental health? Do you have peer support? From what I understand in working with nurses over the years, there just doesn't seem to be much in place encouraging you guys to take care of yourselves. And so what do? You just keep going, survival mode. You keep pushing, you keep working. And you look around and everyone else seems okay. But here's the truth. And again, this is not to beat up on you. This is just what I've observed. Some of you who devote your lives to saving and rescuing and helping and taking care of others are some of the least healthy people I've ever met because you're so stressed. I spoke at a conference for emergency nurses last year, and I was surprised to know how little they knew about trauma and secondary trauma, and that many of them were suffering from symptoms of chronic stress and exposure to trauma, but they didn't know it. They weren't aware. I did a half-day pre-conference training, and it was an eye-opener for these people. I was so thrilled they showed up and they leaned in and they absorbed this information, and I could tell it was going to make a difference for a lot of them. If you aren't aware, which is so common if you're not aware of your stress level, because it becomes normalized in these professions, right? It becomes normalized in nursing. It's a high pressure, high stress job, and there's shift work and sleep deprivation and all the things that come with it. And so carrying a high stress load becomes normalized. I have a few notes here and I want to share this information with you. This is what research tells us about emergency nurses specifically, but some of this might pertain to people all across the nursing profession. 24% frequently consider quitting due to cumulative stress and trauma. 30% report decreased work productivity due to mental health struggles. 30% report experiencing burnout. and 40% experience high levels of secondary traumatic stress. Now, if you don't know what secondary traumatic stress is or secondary trauma, it just means being exposed to and impacted by or affected by the trauma of others, which in nursing is like a daily occurrence, right? It's a part of the job. The thing about secondary trauma is it's not really secondary. The symptoms of secondary trauma mimic the symptoms of trauma. So it's not a trauma that you endured yourself, you're witnessing, but it impacts you and can affect your mental and emotional health just the same. What I want you to know today is that help is available, and I'm here to help you. There are all kinds of ways you can interact with me and learn about what I'm sharing with you today, and you don't have to spend a dime. I mean, you can just scroll through my YouTube videos and see that I have a lot of information on these topics, and I also share for free, it doesn't cost you a dime to watch my videos and learn a little bit about breathing exercises, meditation, and mindfulness. What I offer are powerful personal practices to help you reduce your own stress by learning how to regulate your own nervous system. And once you learn about self regulation, it becomes like a superpower. So I teach these practices, these skills, these tools like meditation, mindfulness, and breathing. And then, so these are things you can learn and practice and begin to integrate into your life just a few minutes a day, and they can make a huge difference. Now, depending where you are on this trajectory of, I'm doing pretty well to I'm totally burned out, and compassion fatigue has gotten the best of me. Wherever you are on this trajectory, maybe you think, okay, yeah, let me learn some of these personal practices. I've heard about these. I just kind of haven't known how to practice them. Let me help you learn about those and start to practice them on a regular basis, integrate them into your day. And I promise you, these practices can help you. If you need a little more help or a little more acute intervention, like if you're really struggling now, if you're kind of hanging on by a thread, then take a step today. So, what does that mean? Peer support, if it's available to you, talking to a trusted friend or a coworker, maybe making a therapy appointment to start talking about some of what's bothering you. Of course, there's all kinds of little practical things you might or might not be able to do, like cutting back your work schedule a little bit, working on your sleep hygiene so you're getting ample sleep, paying attention to your diet and hydration and things like that. But you already know about those things. People, pound those into your head all the time. I'm talking about other resources, mental and emotional support, things that you didn't learn in nursing school, and things that people aren't really talking about that much. I have a free resource directory on my website. It's called Warrior Resource. What is it called? I don't know. It's my list I made. It's called Warrior Resource List, I think. Anyway, it's available on my website, and I'm gonna flash a picture of it up here, so we'll have the title right. What is wrong with me? Anyway, that warrior resource list might be very helpful for you. On the first page are crisis numbers. So if you need crisis numbers, please go download that free PDF right now. You can just keep it on your phone. You can also print it off and keep it handy. If you don't need the crisis numbers, just thumb through it because there are all kinds of resources like books and articles and websites and podcasts and apps and even facilities and lots of other information, lots of resources. This is a way you can confidentially go check out what resources are available to you. And these are the resources your peers are using because I pulled a lot of these resources based on the work I do and the 24 or so people that I've interviewed over the years for my books. So these are what people in these professions that I listed, the warriors, protectors, guardians, healers, these are the resources they're using with great success. All right, so I have endless tricks, tips, and tools to share with you and lots of resources, and I'm here to help. As I always say, I can't stand the thought of people suffering in silence, and I want to do whatever I can do to help. So, my hope for you today is that I've got you thinking. I mean, really, that's it. So, step step out of survival mode and turn off autopilot just for a few minutes. Look inside, do a little introspection. In fact, I have a couple of videos here on YouTube that you might want to go take a look at that talk about self reflection. And I even have a video that has a simple little test that you can take. It's a self assessment, and you take this 10-question quiz and you get an idea of a score that gives you an idea about your stress levels right now. So you might want to go scroll through my videos and check out those. Anyway, I'm hoping that you'll just pause and think about, how are you doing? How's your mental health, your emotional health? Are you taking care of yourself? Do you have any self-care in place? Are you depleted? Do you feel burned out? Are you experiencing compassion fatigue? I mean, compassion fatigue is very common across these professions where you take on other people's stress, and you're looking out for people and caring for people so much. You see them on their worst day and you hear the worst stories, and you just get worn down and depleted over time. Another way of looking at it is it's when your give a shit meter is kind of stuck on, I don't give a shit anymore. If you don't like swearing, I'm sorry, I apologize. But that's compassion fatigue, very, very common. And it can just ruin your day. It can ruin your life. It makes you not want to go to work. So if you are struggling with this stuff, you don't have to live like this. If people at work aren't sharing information, you look around and everyone else seems like they're doing okay. Let me tell you, I've worked with thousands of people across these professions since 2017, and a whole lot of you are not doing very well, but nobody's talking about it. If you're ready to check out some resources, if you're open-minded and ready to maybe try some of the personal practices that I teach, I told you I always have something for free. You can just scroll through and check out my videos here. I have some mini courses, but I hope you'll pop over to Pause First Academy and see what I have available over there. Just go over there and kick the tires and look around. Right now, I have a free meditation course. It's called Demystifying Meditation and Mindfulness. It won't be free forever, but I will always have something for free over there that you can check out and try out. It's yours absolutely free for 90 days. You can take it over and over as many times as you want. You can share it with people you know, so you might want to check that out. I have a $5 a month Well Warrior Culture membership, and it's absolutely free to join my members community. So if you're ready to get started and try a breathing exercise, I'm going to include all the information I gave you today in the description box below, and I'll include links to anything I've mentioned so you can get started. Listen, this is a simple, easy way you can get started on your own time by investing just a few minutes here and there. It won't take a ton of time and it won't cost you any money at all. I mean, what do you have to lose? I really want you to get focused on self-care, and this is about the simplest, easiest, cheapest way you can do that. I'd love for you to leave a comment and let me know how you're doing, what you're struggling with. If you're ready to start, let me know what's going on. I'd love to hear from you. If you are enjoying this content, it would be really great if I could get you to tap that thumbs up, subscribe, and when you subscribe, if you also tap the bell, then you'll be notified every time I release a video so you won't miss anything. I have a lot of great stuff coming up. I'm going to extract a ton of information from my books, stuff that's been helpful for people since my first book was published in 2020. And I'm also going to offer lots of practices and guided meditations, breathing exercises, all kinds of good stuff coming up. You don't want to miss anything. I really appreciate you. I hope you'll get connected with me. Thank you for your time today. And if you liked this, then you might like the video that you're seeing up on the screen right now. Maybe you want to pop over and watch that one next. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.